You're listening to the official Temple University's Football Coaches Show, brought to you by Peerless Boilers on Philadelphia's #1 college radio station, WHIP.
Welcome back, everybody. This is WHIP Radio here in Philadelphia. You heard that right. It is a Wednesday, so it's time for the Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers, and it's a celebratory Temple University Football Coaches Show as the Owls did something to Penn State in the first time in 74 years, and that was walk out of the stadium with a victory. Final score, if you haven't heard, and if you haven't heard, you should wake up and stop sleeping under a rock. Temple won the football game by a score of 27-10 on 27 unanswered points. And in that game, the defense had not one, not two, not three, but 10 sacks. And the man that coaches the defensive line, Elijah Robinson, is our guest, and he joins us right now. Coach Robinson, it's Zach and Mike here on Temple's campus. Thanks for a few minutes. How are you?
No problem. How you doing, Zach and Mike?
Well, we're doing great, and it was a big-time football win, and we had a blast calling the football game. I'm sure you heard the audio calls by now of that exuberant victory at the Link, and you went to Penn State. You played your football there, and you did some graduate assistant work. What was that feeling like, though, when you left the field and Temple was victorious on Saturday, beating Penn State for the first time in 74 years?
Well, every game is important to us, not really just one opponent that we go against that makes it more important. Every game we play, the win is important for us. So it doesn't matter if it's Penn State or another team. We just want to go out there and do our job as best as we can and have the players, coaches oath and a plan to win, and that's what we did.
It couldn't get any better for the defense. After they got down 10-0, that defensive unit really just picked it up, and we heard the quote from Tyler Medikevich after the game that Phil Snow actually walked up to the defense before the game and said that they would score the first 2 times, and then you guys would settle in and start playing Temple football. But your defensive line and that whole defensive unit had 10 sacks. When you were preparing for this game, and we knew the weaknesses on that Penn State offensive line, when did you know that it was going to be a successful day for your defense when you started preparing for this football game?
Well, one thing we talk about is the staff. We talk about preparation, and we talk about that with our guys, and just really respecting the process. And everything we do, we respect the process. We prepare for every team the same way. Coach Lowe is a great coach. I love working for him. Really teaches a lot, and he just demands the best out of us as coaches and as a defensive unit. And our guys did a great job just preparing for the game.
Now, Coach, I'm not a math major here. I do a sports talk radio show, so math isn't my forte. But I will say, when I was sitting at Media Day, Matt Ioannidis walked in the room and he said the team goal was 40 sacks. You guys have 10 after one game. That's already a quarter of the way there. Does that team goal get bumped up a bit after the success from week one?
When we come in, we always want to have a goal, as a unit. And our goal was 40 sacks. It's always good if we can get more than 40 sacks, so we're going to always prepare as if we want to get those amount of sacks every game. So 40 is the goal, and anything more than that, that'd be great.
We're talking to the defensive line coach for the Temple football team, Elijah Robinson. And, Coach, after a game like Saturday, how do you make sure the defensive line keeps it going and that they go into Cincinnati and keep all this momentum going so that they don't start the season 1-1?
Coach Rowe does a great job keeping our guys focused on respecting the process and really living by the player coach's oath and the plan to win. So we're going to continue to do what we've been doing, preach what we've been preaching, and our guys are doing a good job responding to that.
How important is it for the current freshmen, even the ones that aren't even suiting up on game day, to see what the senior leaders are doing for this Temple football club?
Well, we have a mentoring program. So our mentoring program, our guys do a hell of a job with our young guys, and they just teach them how things should be, how they should respect the process, how they should obey the player coach's oath. And our young guys are doing a good job doing that. But like I said, it comes from great senior leadership within the program.
We're talking to the defensive line coach of Temple University right here on the official Temple University Football Coaches Show powered by Peerless Boilers, and that is Elijah Robinson. I asked this question last week to Coach Rule when he was in your spot doing this interview, and the question was, does nostalgia ever kick in when you're going up against Penn State and preparing them? When you were preparing for this football team, did you flash back to any of your playing days or your times there as a graduate assistant?
Not really, man. Two completely different eras. I came, I got a chance to play under Coach Paterno. I got a chance to work with Coach Bill O'Brien. So, it's two different eras. So there's not really much of any thought process that goes back to my time being there. And I enjoyed my time there. I had a great experience, with great coaches. Got a chance to be around some great players, even older players that showed me how to do things when I was young. But when I'm here at Temple, I'm at Temple Owl, and I just focus on preparing with my coaching staff and with my unit.
Did any of those former Penn State players that you played with or coached with, did they reach out to you after the game?
Oh, no doubt. Like I said, I got a tremendous amount of respect for the guys I played with in the past, and even the guys that played before my time. Got a great relationship with those guys. One thing Coach Paterno always preached about us is being a family, years beyond when we would leave college football. And even when we left State College, I still remain friends with a lot of those guys. A lot of those guys are like brothers to me. So all those guys called me and congratulated me. And, crazy thing is those guys were actually happy that I got the win. So I'm happy for that.
The biggest difference from when I covered this team my freshman year now into my senior year is just the depth of that defensive line. And you go to a practice, and the culture that Matt Rule has really brought to this university is just something you can't even describe. Your practices are so competitive, and it makes your football team better. Those defensive linemen, you go to practice, you see a really good practice, and they're still complaining. They're still yelling at each other, making sure everyone's in the right spot. You always hear the words, do your job. You hear similar statements that you hear in the media from the Patriots, the Seahawks, and the Texans, echoed by your coaching staff. Can you just describe the competitiveness of your defensive line unit?
Like I said, I'll tell you one thing, guys. Before I got here, these guys had a name called the Wild Boys. It was great defensive linemen that still play in the NFL. You had the Clecos, you had Ahmed Roberson, you had Terrence Knight. You had guys like Coach Rule that once coached the defensive line here. You had Coach Snow that's been around great defensive line coaches and been around great NFL D linemen. So, like I said, it's just a culture of a bunch of guys here that's seeing how it's supposed to be done, and we respect it. You even go back to Coach Saravo, that when he was coaching at Boston College, he was around B.J. Rodgers. So everybody in our organization knows what they should look like on defensive line. It's not just myself. It's the calls that Coach Snows make. It's the linebackers doing their job. It's the DBs playing great defense, things like that allow us to get to the ball. So it's a unit deal here, man. Our offensive line, there was a lot of trouble during practice. So for my guys to get a chance to go against our offensive line, it really prepares us for the game.
Is there a different mood in practice this week after a 1-0 victory?
No, we're just respecting the process. Every day's the same. We respect the process and we live by the play coaches over.
And right after that game, Matt Rule already started talking about how they want to prevent that letdown, because last year you guys got off to a hot start, beat Vanderbilt by a score of 37-7, and that allowed over 500 yards to Navy the following week and got off to that 1-1 start. What challenges, though, did this Cincinnati offense present to you? Because they're really a high-octane offense.
It's a great offense. They're a great team overall. They're a well-respected team. Bunch of seniors at the receiver position. Offensive line is great. Good players. They really protect that quarterback. The running backs run hard. They get downhill. So we have a challenge. But, again, it's not about Cincinnati. It's about us and our preparation. So that's one thing we preach to our guys. We preach about it's about us and doing our job. And again, the play coach is open our preparation for this deal.
Last one with Elijah Robinson, who is our guest on the Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. I want to just take you back to the spring game because you guys did something that was really cool. The first touchdown of the season was scored by Leah Still, and you had Devin Still on the field, and everyone knows that story. He played at Penn State. You talked about that family atmosphere that you learned at Penn State, and you had Devin come here and train when he would be going over to CHOP for the treatments with his daughter, Leah. Just how important was that for you to be just a good friend to Devin Still when he's going through a really difficult time in his life?
Well, like I said, I go back to just the way you were brought up as players playing on Coach Paterno. So I'll always be family. I had a chance to coach Devin when I was a grad assistant and when I got hired as a full-time coach there. We just remained close friends, and I was there when Leah was a newborn baby, so I knew Leah from the day she was born. She's a special child, special kid. She's doing wonders and really bringing the light on her situation and making the best for everybody. But that's just the type of guy Coach Rule is. If he can help somebody out, he's going to do that. He opens up his program to his guys. Devin played at Penn State, but, when he was here at Temple, he was at Temple Owl, and he respected our program and everything we stood for. He has a great relationship with Jeremy Scott, which trained both of us in college. So it was good, man. It was good having Devin here and having his daughter here. I think our players really enjoyed having them here as well, so we was glad they got a chance to come over.
Coach, you guys do a fantastic job both on and off the field. We appreciate a few minutes today. I just want to share a quick story with you. After the game, when we left the Stadium Lincoln Financial Field after doing all of our media work, I had a missed call from my grandfather who went to Temple University. And the last Temple-Penn State game he went to, Temple lost the game by 7-6, and he called it the greatest day of his life. So that was a really powerful football win for my grandfather to see, and it was a special one. It's one that many people are always going to remember, that victory, and best of luck up against Cincinnati.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it, man. I really am. Thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much. There is the defensive line coach, Elijah Robinson, joining us on the hotline, Philly's #1 college radio station on the official Temple University Football Coaches Show, powered by our good friends at Peerless Boilers. Peerless builds America's best boilers. Good spot there with Elijah. And, man, that guy just changed the whole culture of that defensive line. This defensive line unit is a really darn good unit. You got Sharif Finch picking off the football, Nate D. Smith making that change back to defensive line. And they just got after the quarterback all day. 10 sacks, Mike. 10.
It was basic football. They didn't throw, at least from a defensive standpoint, they didn't throw these complex different sets at the quarterback. They didn't try and even scare him. In fact, there was a two-man rush that got through. They weren't even trying to go for a sack on that play. You know what I mean?
I forgot to ask him about the two-man rush. Those coaches must sit there and just laugh at that game.
At that point, yeah, a two-man rush. You're getting after a top five.
Top five plays.
Yeah, well, that's
he's
what
not
everyone's
good
saying.
Enough. I know. But he's
top
not.
5 pick
he
in
was
the draft.
disinterested in that football game.
At minimum, an NFL quarterback to be and a two-man rush is
and they
sacking
buried
him.
that game tape. Did you see that?
I saw it. I don't really understand why, because there's something to be learned.
It's a football tradition.
Yeah, but there's something to be learned from it.
Yeah, sure. Hey, that's why they're off to 0-1, and the Temple Owls are 1-0.